Hi everyone, it's Lulu here and welcome to my channel. In this video, I will be creating candy-inspired eyeshadow looks using the new Jeffree Star Cosmetics Jawbreaker palette, and I really tried to use every single shade in this palette, as you will see in the video. And also, I start off with using eyeshadow primer on one eye, which is my left eye, and concealer on my right eye to test which product works better with the palette. So I start off by using eyeshadow primer on my left eye and concealer on my right eye. And these are the shades that I use for this specific look that was inspired by the Candy Tootsie Rolls. So I just use the shade Cone to kind of set under my brow, and I'm blending it out. I do the exact same thing on the other eye. Here I am just packing on the shade Tasty onto my lid, and as I'm packing it on, I'm also kind of trying to blend it out a little. And here I just use the exact same shade to blend it out to my crease. I did have a hard time with blending with the eyeshadow primer side, so there's that. And here I just use white eyeliner. I take off the tape, as you can see, and then I just use the shades Tasty and Licorice to smoke out my lower lash line, and I do the same for both eyes. So this is basically, it was a really simple look. It was really quick and simple. However, I did have a hard time blending with the eyeshadow primer side, and as you can see, I also kind of messed up on the white eyeliner on both sides. But that was it for this look that was inspired by Tootsie Rolls. So for this look, I do the exact same thing: primer on left, concealer on right, and these are the shades that I use for this specific look that was inspired by my boyfriend's favorite candy, which are the Trolley Very Berry Gummies, I want to say. So here I'm just packing, or I'm trying to blend it on first. I'm using the shade Licorice, and I was having the hardest time blending it on, as you could see, but I do try to work with it. Here I'm packing it on, which was what I should have done in the first place. So it made it a little easier, and I just used the shade Bubblegum to, blend it out. Here I'm using the shade Delicious to kind of darken up the outer corner, and I don't know if you could see that my left eye with the eyeshadow primer is redder than my right eye, which is like slightly more pink, but that happened. So I cut the crease, and I am packing on the shade Gumdrop, and I did have a hard time just in general using the eyeshadow primer with this palette because it just kept crumbling up. And here I attempt to use the shade Bite Me with a brush, however I noticed that it wasn't really working all that well, so I just used my fingers and it worked a lot better. And here I'm using the shade Raspberry to smoke out the lower lash line, on the outer lash line at least. And then I use the shade Brain Freeze to give that pop of blue on the inner corner of the lash line. And I actually really like it. This is the look without any mascara and lashes, and as you could see, I also got a little bit of the shade Bite Me onto my face, and this is the look. I don't know if you could see, it's a little crumbly. It was falling off a little, and so that's it for this look. I actually really like this one. So I do the exact same thing: primer on one, concealer on the other eye. These are the 4 shades that I use for this specific look, and I am packing on the shade Bubblegum onto my lid crease. And as I'm packing it on, I am also trying to blend it out a little bit, and then I use the shade Good Morning to blend it out. However, I had a really hard time blending, honestly, with the eyeshadow primer side, and then so here I just use the shade Cherry Wet to kind of darken up the outer corner a little bit. On the primer side, I'm packing on the shade Virgin, as I do on the other side as well, but I had a really hard time, and you can kind of see where it looks a little messy. And I actually had a hard time with both eyes, which, you know, I wasn't having it, so it looked really bad. So I took it off. And she restarted all over again with purely concealer and doing the exact same steps that I was doing. And then just using Cherry Wet and bubblegum, and then I used eyeliner. However, I still kind of had a hard time with this look. This whole look in general was a fail. I did like the color story though. And you could see I even have a glop of mascara, and then I'm trying to pop a bubblegum to look cute, and it just was a fail. So I use these shades for this look, which I honestly just started using concealer instead of eyeshadow primer. And this look was inspired by peach rings, the candy peach rings, like the gummies. So I'm just using the shade Cone to, you know, set a little bit. And then I am using the Forbidden shade to blend into the crease. And I'm blending and blending. And then I use the shade Suck to kind of give it a little bit more of the orange, the slightly darker orange, onto my outer corner, I mean. And then I just cut the crease. So I use the shade Cone, and as I'm packing it on, I'm realizing that packing it on directly onto concealer kind of darkens the shade a little. So then I try to use the shade Orange Juice on a brush, and it of course didn't work, so I used my fingers. And then here I did my eyeliner, and now I'm just using the two orange shades to smoke out my lower lash line. So this is the look with lashes, and I actually really like this. My favorite shade honestly in this palette is Orange Juice. So these are the shades that I used for this eyeshadow look that was inspired by cotton candy. So when I think of cotton candy, I honestly think of blue, pink, and yellows. But anyway, here I am blending on the shade Brain Freeze onto my crease. And then I use the shade Delicious to kind of create a halo eye. And here I just cut the crease, so it looked really ugly, but I'm trying to pack on the shade Cotton Candy. And I had a hard time, of course, with shimmers and or metallics with the brush. So real talk, I kind of just like thought, let me just make like a cloud-like halo eye, and it looked a little ridiculous. But I kind of was also digging it. I liked my left eye more than my right, to be honest. But here I'm just using the shade Wow to give it that pop of yellow. And I had already used this shade Delicious on the lower lash line, and here I'm just blending it together. And I know I like the look. It wasn't my favorite, but here is the look. I actually used the shade Jawbreaker to highlight my inner corner. And this is the look with lashes and mascara on. And I know one eye looks a little better than the other one. I kind of messed up on the one I winked at, just because I had already started as like a normal halo eye instead of a little cloud, little cotton candy shape. But it still looked good in my opinion. And this was what I posted on my Instagram, of course. So these are the shades that I used for this look, and this was inspired by none other than a Jawbreaker. So I'm basically just setting the eye with the shade Virgin, and this is the only way the shade Virgin actually showed in my opinion. I had a hard time using it before, so here I'm just giving a little detail to my eyes using the shade Soaked on one brush, and then Licorice on another, and then Wow. So this is the look without lashes and mascara. So here I'm just blending in the three colors together to make it, you know, to make my lower lash line look really cute. And then I do my eyeliner. Here's the look. I don't know why I chose that lippy. It wasn't my cup of tea, but whatever. So this is the look with lashes and mascara. And I kind of look like a clown, but it's okay. She's a cute clown. So these are the two shades I used for this specific look, which was inspired by the candy Hot Tamales or Hot Tamales. And I actually don't even like the candy, but I needed a red. I needed to use the red, so I'm using the shade Cherry Wet. I'm packing it on the lid, and then here I'm just trying to give it the shape to make it look clean cut in a way and not just like rounded. So it took me quite some time to get the shape, but it's fine. And here I'm just blending it out so that it could look natural, fluffy, and cute. And then I use my finger for the shade and wet because of course brushes. So I tried wetting the brush as well, and to be honest it still wasn't working for me at least. So here I'm just using the shade Cherry Wet to blend out my lower lash line, to smoke out my lower lash line. And here's the look. I actually used the shade and Wet and a little bit of Snack on my inner corner to give it that nice cute highlighted look, and this is it. So for this look I used the shades Cute, Sour, Virgin, and Jawbreaker. And I also use the shade Tasty, which I forgot to add on to it, honestly. So I'm just using the shade Cute to blend into the crease, and it was slightly more blue mint in a way than it was like green. And then here I'm just using the shade Sour to give it that greener look. And I just cut the crease. I try to do a winged crease, and then here I'm using brown eyeliner. So then I use a little bit of the greens onto my lower lash line, and well, this wasn't my favorite look, but I decided to still keep this in because of the inspiration and because we all fail, we just don't show it. So this is the completed look with lashes and mascara. Of course, lashes pull everything together, and the lippy of course pulls it together as well. So that was it for this look. This is what I posted on my Instagram, of course. So last but not least, these are the shades that I used for my final look, which was inspired by the candy Butterfinger. I used the shade Brain Freeze to blend out into my crease, and then I used the shade Soap to give it that brighter pop of blue. And I had to keep dipping in, I mean. So I used the shade Delicious to darken up the look and the crease as well. And then I cut my crease, and I'm packing on the shade Wow. Then I just go back and clean it up. I use my finger for the shade Lemon Drop. And then I use the blues for my lower lash line. So you could see it wasn't the best cut crease, but I actually really love these two colors together, and I love the look itself. And of course the lashes and mascara kind of pulled it together, and of course I had to also fix my lash. But this is the last look. Thank you so much for watching this video, my very first video here on YouTube. I really do appreciate it. I would also greatly appreciate it if you guys were to like and subscribe and go ahead and comment down your favorite candy.